In the heat of reckless defiance, teenagers spiral into chaos.
Got me, bro! I don't give a. If you don't give a about me, I don't give a about you.
Leaving shattered lives and legal consequences in their wake.
Unfortunately, the person who had nothing to do with anything is dead.
These are the events captured on body cameras when teenagers unleash the wildest chaos. On the evening of July 13, 2024, police were called to a horrific accident that led to a car catching fire. When they arrived at the scene, only one passenger, a 14-year-old girl, was near the vehicle, appearing to be in severe pain and fear following the crash. The driver had vanished. According to the girl, the driver was 16 years old, but she refused to disclose their identity. After some investigation, police identified the address of the fleeing passenger and immediately went there to apprehend them. Watch the mother's reaction when she realizes her son has been involved in major trouble.
Let's get behind this wall, guys.
I know it's broken. I can't walk on it. Come on. Ow. Ow. I can't. Ow. No, please.
Do you have any ammunition in that car?
What does that mean?
Do you have any bullets in that car?
No. Ow. Ow. Please, my leg is broken. I really cannot stand up.
The investigation grew more complex as the 14-year-old passenger refused to clarify the driver's identity. An officer interviewed a witness who revealed there were initially 3 people in the car. They were at home when the accident occurred and immediately called the police. The witness showed clear fear when informed that the person struck in the crash was still uncertain to be alive. According to her, the driver was an African-American male. She and her husband had followed the car, but due to focusing on driving, they couldn't clearly see the suspect's appearance. Though a brave act, the officer warned her that chasing the car was dangerous, as an accident could have happened to them.
2 people. You dropped off
He
one?
dropped off one.
Okay, and then 2.
It was 1 behind and it was 2 in front.
What do you mean 2 in front?
And 1 behind.
So supposedly right now is 2 people over there.
No.
I don't know.
The passenger girl continued to withhold the driver's identity, only providing details about his clothing and admitting she didn't know he had fled. Based on this limited information, police quickly broadcasted a radio description. Shortly after, someone called to report that a person had run into their backyard minutes after the crash. Police pursued this lead, but still couldn't pinpoint the suspect's location. At this point, medical personnel reported that the man in the struck vehicle had succumbed to severe head injuries, with his brain unresponsive shortly after arriving at the hospital. Faced with this devastating loss, his family made the difficult decision to discontinue life support.
Black sweat, white shirt?
That's what Dale said. I would check with Dale.
He went, where did he go?
I don't know. I wasn't looking. I was trying to get out of the car and I couldn't walk. I fell to the ground.
When you saw him get out of the car?
I didn't see
The investigation uncovered new clues, revealing that 4 people were in the stolen car at the time of the crash. The 16-year-old driver who fled, the 14-year-old girl in the passenger seat with a broken leg, and 2 unidentified individuals who were also injured but escaped with the driver. After these passengers were later identified, the suspect driver was arrested while attempting to steal another car a few days after the incident. A month later, on August 12, 2024, police visited the home of one of the passengers based on information from a wallet left in the car to continue the investigation.
Raven Police.
Yeah.
Hi, are you mom?
I am. What's up?
Hi, Master Raven Police. Just so you know, my body camera's on. So
Okay.
I'm here to talk. Probably has to do with his injury, potentially, but a little incident he was involved in July. What happened? In a car crash, perhaps? No. Sure? Yeah.
Can you go? Can you go in the house, please?
What?
The suspect's mother reacted calmly but said something was wrong when police asked about her son's hand injury. The officer recounted the horrific accident from July 12th to her, and her demeanor toward her son changed instantly. She told the officer she wouldn't let her son speak without assurance he wouldn't face trouble and would call a lawyer to intervene. Until then, her son would remain silent. She added that her son's right hand was broken on July 13, a day after the accident, claiming he punched a wall, but she didn't believe this. She expressed disappointment, mentioning having repeatedly warned her son about how such foolish actions could ruin his lives. The officer explained 3 charges related to the incident and suggested her son, also injured in the crash, could be a victim and witness. Cooperation would aid the investigation. The mother then cooperated, allowing the officer to speak with her son.
Could be going to jail for the rest of his life just by being in that car. Do you understand me? Do you understand me?
And even if that part doesn't stick, you could be dead.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
Are you
honestly, I got out of that car and I didn't know how I only broke a hand. I thought I was literally dead. I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was dead.
Unfortunately, the person who had nothing to do with any of this is dead.
According to the son, the driver was a schoolmate from Kentwood named Trey with an unknown last name. He didn't know the others in the car. He recalled that when Trey noticed police sirens and lights behind them, he started the car and fled. The son remembered it happened quickly, unsure of the speed or what they hit. When asked what happened after the crash, he initially claimed ignorance. His mother interjected, warning him not to lie. He admitted to fleeing after the car caught fire, first saying he walked home, then claiming Trey's father picked him up after Trey called him using his phone.
Front seat of the car
Seat, yep.
with no seatbelt on,
Yep.
and he is standing here
With a broken hand, yeah.
alive.
So
I don't know how.
yeah, it's a complete miracle because just the way that car spun afterwards was enough to maybe keep him in the car. I can't explain it.
The other guy lost his life.
Yeah, and then we have another guy who's got a broken shoulder, one of your passengers, and then there was a female that was in the back with the boys, and she has a broken leg in 2 places. But you guys got off pretty easy.
The officer appreciated the son's cooperation and honesty, confirming he agreed to be a witness and would not face criminal charges since he wasn't the driver. The mother noted he should be grateful for surviving a 104 miles per hour crash in the front seat with only a broken hand, calling it a miracle and hoping he'd learn from the accident to make wiser choices. The officer spoke privately with the son, explaining that he might not be mature enough to grasp the severity of the situation, but the truth was that Trey stole the car, and they had fun together. However, in that moment, an innocent family was shattered. A wife lost her husband, and a child lost their father. The officer emphasized making smart decisions moving forward, as those over 16 face adult consequences for wrongdoing, not juvenile ones.
Unfortunately, the result of that, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you really want to stand in front of that guy's family and say it was just a stolen car and it was just for fun to a family who's now lost, who's his kids
I'm
are
sorry.
without a dad, his wife is without a husband,
Yeah.
and it's all because you guys just wanted to have fun.
Yeah. I know.
And nothing you can do, no apology you guys can do can ever take that back.
Yes, sir.
And as far as we can tell, the Trey never really
The 16-year-old driver was charged with multiple felonies, including second-degree murder, vehicular homicide, felony hit and run, 2 counts of vehicular assault, attempting to elude a police vehicle, and possession of a stolen vehicle. He remains in custody with bail set at $500,000 at the time of the crash. He was already on electronic home monitoring for a prior stolen vehicle case. His record also includes referrals for harassment in June 2023 and for taking a motor vehicle without permission in September 2023, further highlighting a pattern of criminal behavior. As of now, the case remains ongoing.
On February 21, 2022, police officers received a call reporting a suspected drunk driver in the North Bahama Drive area. As an officer approached a parked Tesla, the vehicle suddenly sped off. The officer immediately reported over the radio, Tesla just took off, and began pursuit.
Turn off the vehicle. Hands out of the window.
The chase was intense, weaving through neighborhood streets. The Tesla reached speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, about 96 kilometers per hour, in a residential area running stop signs. After some time, the vehicle stopped. Officers shouted for the driver to turn off the engine and put their hands out the window. The driver, a 24-year-old woman named Stephanie, refused to comply. She repeatedly questioned why she was being stopped and insisted on staying in the vehicle, escalating tensions.
You need to come over here right now.
Why?
Because I'm telling you to. You're running from me.
I did not. I'm right here.
Yeah, now you are. You need to get over here right now.
Despite police orders, Stephanie attempted to exit the car, then returned inside, locked the doors, and sped off again. Officers were forced to resume the chase. The second pursuit took them through several streets, including Jamaican Road, before the Tesla stopped again. By now, Stephanie was visibly panicked, repeatedly calling her father and yelling that the police were arresting her without clear reason.
She's taking off. 5011, I'm in pursuit again.
Police ordered Stephanie out of the vehicle, but she resisted fiercely, even kicking an officer during the struggle. She demanded to speak with her father, claiming he owns this island and that she was on his property. The officers patiently explained that at 24, she was an adult and didn't need her father's intervention. However, Stephanie refused to cooperate, shouting and declining to perform field sobriety tests.
Hell, dude. What are you doing?
Don't fucking resist.
What are you doing, dude? You didn't even know me. God, they're arresting me.
While handcuffed, Stephanie continued to struggle, even slipping out of the cuffs once, prompting officers to tighten them. She insisted she was innocent, claiming she had been clean for 3 years and didn't understand why she was being arrested. She expressed concern for her cat left in the car, but officers refused to contact her father, emphasizing that she was responsible for her actions.
One detained.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why? My cat is in the car. Why are you doing this?
Okay, let go of your phone.
No, I'm not. My dad is on the phone. And he's...
The confrontation grew heated. Stephanie repeatedly asked why she was being arrested. An officer explained that she had driven recklessly, showed signs of intoxication, and fled from police. They warned that her speeding could have endangered children in the neighborhood. Stephanie denied the accusations, insisting she always stopped for kids crossing the street and had done nothing wrong.
My flat. Can you get my flashlight?
ran too.
Who ran to? Do you have anything on you that's
No,
gonna
I
cut
don't.
me? Well, don't act all shocked.
Eventually, Stephanie was placed in a police car to be taken to jail. Inside the vehicle, she continued demanding to speak with her father and expressed confusion about her arrest. Officers reiterated that her actions threatened public safety and that they had evidence from their dash cameras. Stephanie protested, denying she was drunk and demanding an immediate breathalyzer test.
I didn't do anything wrong, so why are they doing this?
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
We have an RP that said she was intoxicated. I found her parked right here.
Intoxicated.
She sees me.
Did you take a test? No.
Stephanie's father arrived at the scene and tried to speak with the officers, but they refused and asked him to leave. He urged his daughter to calm down, stating that she had been speeding and showed signs of intoxication, which had worsened the situation. Despite her father's pleas, Stephanie refused to accept that he sided with the police. She cried hysterically, behaving childishly, resisting, and demanding that officers read her rights. The officers clarified that they weren't required to read her rights on the spot and that she would be processed according to protocol at the jail.
Why am I going to jail?
Because you were speeding, you ran stop signs.
Where was I speeding?
Well, that's probably
1429.
Well, do they know? Do they know where I was speeding?
They were behind you.
Behind me where?
The charges against Stephanie included reckless driving, fleeing from police, resisting an officer with violence, and suspicion of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Officers noted the smell of alcohol on her and planned to conduct a breathalyzer test at the jail to verify the intoxication charge. On January 27, 2024, police officers in Atlanta were dispatched to handle a domestic dispute between a mother and her daughter. The emergency call came from the mother, who reported that her daughter, Rachel, was causing a disturbance at home, including breaking items and engaging in heated arguments. The mother explained that tensions stemmed from the destructive behavior of Rachel's dog, which damaged the house and increased expenses she had to bear. In a fit of frustration, the mother admitted to yanking an item off the wall in Rachel's room and demanded she leave the house.
at the house. I gotta pay for that. The bills are mounting, stuff that I gotta cover. And so I really just want her to go. Like, I think she's upstairs and stuff.
So what happened today? Is it just arguments?
It's just arguments, and she's just been throwing stuff.
Upon arrival, officers found Rachel in her bedroom, which was in disarray. Rachel immediately became confrontational, refusing to speak with the officers and insisting she didn't request their help. She was packing her belongings, seemingly intending to leave, but repeatedly stated she wanted no police involvement. The interaction between Rachel and the officers quickly escalated as she used offensive language, calling them vulgar names and demanding they leave. Meanwhile, the mother continued to express frustration, describing Rachel as a troublemaker and complaining about her behavior, including throwing objects and even deliberately letting her dog out in hopes it would be hit by a car.
Don't worry about it.
I'm here to help you. Like, why are you
miserable?
Okay, but I didn't do anything to you. I'm just trying to see what's going on, if I can help you. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do anything to you. So, I see you packing up stuff. Are you trying to go somewhere?
I just hurt her.
Okay, where you?
Don't worry about it.
Baby, I can help you.
No, I don't need your help. I didn't call y'all. She asked for help. I didn't ask y'all for shit.
Right, that's correct. She called us. Do you need a ride?
No.
The officers attempted to de-escalate, offering to help Rachel pack to go to her grandfather's house as originally planned. However, Rachel rejected all assistance, emphasizing she wouldn't leave without her dog, fearing her mother would harm it. She accused her mother of calling the police in November 2022 and consistently playing the victim in their disputes. Tensions rose further as Rachel continued to berate both her mother and the officers, calling her mother a vile person and unlovable.
And you want me to leave? I think you're here now.
Hello.
Hey, Rachel, this is Rachel.
Oh, get the out. I don't want y'all in here. I don't want y'all bothering me.
Rachel, we're not...
Is that not a clear answer? Leave me the fuck alone.
In an effort to control the situation, the officers explained that Rachel couldn't stay at the house in her agitated state. They urged her to come with them peacefully, but Rachel refused, threatening to resist anyone who touched her. The situation reached a boiling point when Rachel attempted to leave but was stopped by the officers. During the struggle, she allegedly bit one officer's hand and kicked another in the face. Rachel claimed the kick was unintentional but admitted she meant to bite, feeling violated by the officer's actions. She explained her behavior stemmed from a defensive reaction tied to memories of past abuse by her father.
I don't care. Get your nerdy ass out of here, bro. Damn.
We didn't come here because
I don't care.
We don't need
I don't care.
So Rachel, we can't leave.
I don't care.
That means you're gonna have to come with us.
I ain't gotta do nothing but be black and mind my goddamn business.
Are you 18 years old?
Rachel repeatedly begged not to be taken to a psychiatric hospital where she had been before and instead requested to be taken to jail. She expressed profound distress, saying all she wanted was her mother's love, but felt cruelly treated. The officers, however, insisted that jail wouldn't accept her in her current state and she needed a medical evaluation. Rachel continued to resist, leading to resist, resulting in self-inflicted injuries from banging her head against the police car and walls and walls. Officers restrained her to prevent further self-harm, but Rachel complained they were hurting her, particularly with the tight handcuffs on her wrists.
All right, grab your stuff.
My dog.
You're not going back in.
Stop touching me. Gracie.
Right. You know what?
Stop! Stop! Let me trying to get my dog! Get my dog! Get the fuck off!
You trying to fight me? Trying to fight me?
Yeah!
Throughout the incident, Rachel voiced frustration with her mother, blaming her for her suffering. She also criticized the officers for intervening, pointing out that her mother called the police, yet acted like the victim. Ultimately, an ambulance was called to take Rachel for a psychological evaluation, despite her objections. The officers advised her to calm down and promised to help her retrieve her belongings later, but Rachel still felt trapped in an impossible situation.
Call the phone. They ain't gonna take everything. Stop here for.
Stop! Stop, yeah.
Only thing you gotta do is calm down. You over here fighting. Told you to calm down. Shouldn't have caused injury to herself.
Regarding online opinions that Rachel's mother and grandfather enabled her rude and defiant behavior, leading to her daily aggression and disrespect, it's challenging to confirm without deeper context. Family dynamics are often complex and enabling behaviors can contribute to escalating conflicts, but it's also possible that Rachel's actions were influenced by untreated mental health issues or past trauma, as suggested by her reference to abuse. Both parties appeared to exacerbate the situation. Rachel's hostility and the mother's reactive approach hindered resolution. A lack of effective communication and professional intervention likely worsened their relationship. Without more evidence, it's speculative to fully blame the mother or Rachel alone, but addressing underlying issues through therapy and structured support could benefit all involved.
It doesn't matter. It's too late for that. It's too late for that.
Because you was hurting me.
If you would have just put your hands behind your back the first time, nobody would have been taking you to the ground.
Take you to jail. I told you, just get your stuff. We come back later.
I'm tired of this.
It does not matter. You can't kick anybody in the face. If I
hurting
kick somebody in the face, I would go to jail in uniform.
You were hurting me. You were literally hurting me.
That's what you need.
You're hurting me.
Rachel was charged with assault, battery, resisting arrest, and trespassed from home.
On November 18, 2023, in a parking lot in Ohio, a tense incident unfolded, starting with an argument between two women. A police officer just leaving the station witnessed the scene right on the precinct's grounds. The argument quickly escalated, leading to a dramatic arrest.
You don't have the right to be ripping outdoors in front of the cops.
This is my partner.
I don't care who it is. Step back.
I give a fuck about you having a badge, bro.
Go ahead.
As the officer approached, he heard the two women shouting at each other. One was trying to open a car door, while the other blocked her. The officer shouted to intervene, but the woman attempting to open the door responded aggressively. He ordered both to calm down and step back, but the situation spiraled out of control.
Get off me, dude.
Turn the around.
No.
We're done playing.
No, I'm not playing with you.
The woman trying to open the car repeatedly claimed it belonged to her friend and refused to back off. She argued with the officer, insisting she had the right to do so and didn't care about his badge number. The officer patiently asked her to step back and put her hands behind her back, but she refused, accusing him of slandering her. The confrontation intensified as she continued to defy his orders.
I told you I was at
Stop. Stop.
I'm letting you go.
Then stop.
All right, I'm letting
All of
go.
your hard work is just down the drain now because you're getting arrested because you wanted to drink.
The officer attempted to restrain her, but she resisted and screamed. The other woman standing nearby revealed that the woman had been drinking. In an effort to control the situation, the officer eventually handcuffed the defiant woman and led her toward the patrol car. She continued shouting, insisting she had done nothing wrong.
All the bullshit that you gotta do, you asshole.
Can you?
Don't.
You were making it so much worse on yourself.
Y'all are such fucking assholes.
Are we doing this to you? No, you did this to yourself. All you.
You.
Get in the car.
You don't gotta do all that.
Sit in the car.
Listen,
Put your feet in.
I will.
We're
I will
done.
cooperate.
Put your feet in.
Hold on, let me talk
We're
to you.
not
Listen.
listening.
While being escorted, she demanded to speak to her friend again, but the officer refused, stating she'd had her chance to calm down and didn't take it. Her friend tried to explain that the argument stemmed from the woman wanting to retrieve a phone she had borrowed. The phone belonged to the friend, who had paid $900 for it, and the woman was only using it temporarily. The officer, however, was uninterested in these details, focusing on her disruptive behavior and resistance.
It wasn't even physical. She tried to open the door and this motherfucker came up and tried to arrest her. That was it. Okay. We were having a dispute on our own.
Shit. Oh shit.
Here, it's fine.
Oh, it's not. No, I got like turn my wrist real quick.
As she was placed in the patrol car, the woman continued to resist, requesting to be handcuffed in front for comfort. She later pleaded for the cuffs to be loosened, assuring the officer she wouldn't escape. He refused, telling her to sit still. She grew more aggressive, threatening, "I'll make your life hell." Try me. She even kicked the patrol car door, escalating the chaos.
Understand, we don't know what the heck's
Yeah,
going on.
I pull up, I just see her yelling and screaming, pulling on the door.
No, I
don't
get
know
it.
what's going on.
No, and
when I tried to talk to her,
I
she
know.
went high into the road.
I know, and she has every right to get arrested for that. I completely understand. I told her that she needed to relax, but...
Can you put the handcuffs in the front, you asshole?
Oh,
Man, I'm not.
Union Light 963.
I don't give a...
Her friend, still in the parking lot, tried to explain further to the officer. She said the arrested woman had been drinking since 11 p.m. and had driven to the station thinking her friend was at someone else's house. The friend explained that the woman believed she was being deceived, so she tried to check the car despite efforts to calm her down. Nevertheless, the officer decided to take the woman to the station for processing.
He'll have disorderly pursuit, obstructing her.
Hey, stop kicking the door. I don't give a...
Jack, we're going to need the chair.
The ride to the station was tense, with the woman continuing to protest and demand gentler treatment. She insisted she wasn't a criminal and was just having a drunk night. The officers remained firm, emphasizing that her behavior had crossed the line.
I don't give a... I don't give a... I will kick this in, bro. I'm telling you, let my handcuffs up front, bro. This shit hurt, bro.
Ultimately, the woman was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. Surprisingly, despite admitting to police that she had driven to the parking lot while intoxicated, she was not charged with driving under the influence (DUI). On April 24, 2024, police received a call to a residence where an incident had occurred between a mother and her daughter. The situation began when the mother confiscated her daughter's phone because she refused to go to school. The argument quickly escalated, leading to a confrontation that required police intervention.
I want to go to school, but she told me I'm not allowed.
You didn't want to go to school?
No, she told me I'm not allowed.
Okay. So she took your phone because you were sleeping in and didn't want to go to school?
I was getting up, just like very slowly.
Okay.
It takes me time to process how to get up and to get up.
Okay, all right.
When officers arrived, the young girl, identified as Elle, was visibly upset. She explained to the police that she was angry because her mother took her phone for no reason. According to Elle, she skipped school that day because she was exhausted and couldn't wake up early. She insisted she wanted to go to school, but her mother told her she wasn't allowed. Elle explained she was just slow to get up and needed time to wake up, emphasizing she wasn't intentionally defiant.
So if Officer Hack, does she have any marks on her or anything like that?
No, I don't even touch her anywhere besides her wrist.
You just
She squares up and down, I hit her in the chest.
That's what she's saying?
Yes, and I didn't. I just pushed her out of the way to get my phone.
The police continued questioning her about the incident. Elle admitted to pushing her mother while trying to retrieve her phone. However, she denied intending to hurt her, saying she only grabbed her mother's wrist and pushed her out of the room. When asked about throwing objects, Elle admitted to throwing a bottle of medication on the floor, but not at her mother. The bottle bounced and accidentally hit her mother. She also mentioned throwing a pair of pants, but not toward her mother. All her actions, she claimed, were solely to get her phone back.
She told me she wants me out, so nowhere to go.
I think she just wanted you out of the house. So
No,
that
she told me to pack my stuff and get out.
Did she ever put her hands on you?
Yeah, she does all the time.
What does she do?
She hits me, kicks me.
Did she do that today or like?
Yeah, she always hits me and kicks me all the time.
Okay.
And she's just gonna say she does it.
During the conversation, Elle revealed more about her strained relationship with her mother. She said her mother frequently hit and kicked her, not just in the morning, but also at night, sometimes without reason. Elle recounted being constantly hit and kicked, though her mother always denied it. She shared that she was struggling with mental health issues, was on medication, but her condition had worsened recently. Elle also mentioned that her mother had once told her to leave home, instructing her to pack her things and go.
Like, this is over the phone. They tried to get her to go to school. She didn't want to go to school, so mom took her phone, and then that set her off. And she was attacking mom, grabbing her, pushing her, throwing things at her. All the above.
That's what she said too. She said that she grabbed your wrist and tried to push you away, and she threw a pill bottle.
Push her away?
That's what she said.
They're indicating that she was chasing mom trying to get the phone.
She came into my bedroom.
The police then spoke with the mother to clarify the situation. According to the mother, she took the phone because her daughter refused to get up for school. This action enraged L, who chased her to demand the phone back, pushed her, and threw objects at her. The mother reported redness on her wrist and chest from being grabbed and pushed. She noted this wasn't the first time L had been violent. Every 3 days, there's an issue. Last week, she pushed me into a wall, the mother said. She confirmed the family had previously reported L's behavior to the police and had even gone to court in the past.
Just place you under arrest for domestic violence. Can you turn around for me?
The mother added that she was in the bedroom with her youngest son when L barged in demanding the phone. She mentioned that previous injuries had just healed and now she was dealing with this again. The police offered to photograph the red marks as evidence, but the mother declined, feeling uncomfortable with a stranger photographing sensitive areas. She requested a female officer, but was told none were on duty at the time. After gathering statements from both parties, the police concluded that L had caused injury to her mother, with the red marks on her mother's wrist and chest as evidence. Based on the mother's account, the police decided to arrest L for domestic violence. "I have to place you under arrest for domestic violence," an officer told L before asking her to turn around to be handcuffed. L expressed frustration but was taken to the police car. L was charged with domestic violence. Whether this incident will teach her to control her emotions and prevent future conflicts with her mother remains uncertain. It depends on whether she recognizes the consequences of her actions and receives the necessary support to change. On March 24, 2025, a bizarre incident unfolded in a parking lot when police discovered a week-old baby girl left alone in a stroller. The situation began when a bystander named Delvin noticed a couple, a man and a woman, arrive at the parking lot. According to Delvin, he was parked and saw them step out of a car. The man placed the baby in a stroller while the woman retrieved items from the vehicle. Initially, Delvin didn't pay much attention, but a strange gut feeling prompted him to drive around the lot to check.
Sitting here.
Did you see the parents?
Yes, it was African American.
And they both walked away?
They had a car, so I'm assuming they drove away.
Okay.
And just left the baby.
Is the baby okay?
Yeah, she's okay. She was crying and I just picked her up, this lullaby her.
Upon returning, Delvin was shocked to find the stroller abandoned in the middle of the parking lot with no adults in sight. He heard the baby crying, approached, and confirmed the infant was in the stroller completely unattended. Without hesitation, Delvin immediately called the police. He described the couple he had seen earlier, a slender black man and a woman with a similar build. However, he was unsure about the car they used or whether they had actually left by vehicle.
What's going on? Where's the baby?
You're telling him I left him with the baby.
Who are you, the father? Is he the father? Are you the mother? Ma'am, look at me. Are you the mother of the baby?
Yeah, and he's the father.
Where is the baby?
He left it at the hospital. I gave him the baby.
Police quickly arrived at the scene. The baby, estimated to be 2 to 3 weeks old, was crying but fortunately safe. There were no signs of the parents or any essentials like diapers, water, or formula nearby. The police began their investigation, contacting Delvin to verify further details. She told a convoluted story involving a man named Carlos, whom she insisted was the child's father. However, Carlos denied any involvement, stating he hadn't signed the birth certificate and didn't believe the child was his.
How did she leave?
She walked off.
Let's run a drug.
How did you get over here, ma'am? Did you walk? So you left your baby in the parking lot?
I left him with the baby. The baby was in front of
There's cameras. Check the cameras. It's not our baby. I'm not even on the birth certificate. Listen, she's here because...
Okay.
The woman, visibly panicked, kept changing her story. At first, she said she left the baby near Carlos's car to force him to take responsibility. She claimed the infant had health issues with abnormal stool and wanted to take her to the hospital for a checkup and a DNA test. However, she admitted to leaving the stroller with the baby in front of Carlos's car and walking away.
She justified her actions by saying she needed time to calm down and planned to return later, but couldn't explain why the child was left unattended.
Why are you here though? You can tell the truth. It's already here.
Ma'am, you don't gotta do that. Okay, well, you're not grabbing stuff, okay?
The more you lie, the more. I don't care.
Bye.
They
detain me. Bye.
There's cameras in the.
They detain me. Bye. What else? Do you have anything on you? No.
Delvin, who had previously helped the woman, provided additional context. He had met her about a year earlier at a gas station and knew she was living in a shelter due to homelessness. That day, he drove her around to seek help, including taking the baby to a doctor's appointment. According to Delvin, everything seemed fine until the afternoon when the woman began acting strangely. She said the baby was sick and needed to go to the hospital, but then walked off, leaving the child with him. Delvin refused to take responsibility and called the police when he saw her push the stroller into the parking lot and leave.
I'm driving her around different locations, Vita Nova, the shelter. Everything was fine until this afternoon. She went to clean the baby, and she said the baby is sick. I think something is going on with the stool or something. And I'm like, what's going on with the stool? She said a word I don't understand. Okay. She said, take her to the hospital. I said, okay. I go inside the gas station. I come out, and she's walking off with her bag.
The police questioned both the woman and Carlos. The woman insisted Carlos was the father while he denied it, claiming she had put his name on the birth certificate without his consent. Both were taken to the station for further clarification. Meanwhile, the baby was placed in the custody of the Department of Children and Families, and a relative believed to be the woman's sister came to take care of the child.
Your right hand for me, I'm gonna swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
You swear everything you're gonna provide is on your own free will, and I didn't force you to do it, correct? Okay, so what happened exactly?
So I was parked on the side of the road with my car there, and I was just looking at my phone, and I saw the car pulled in, but I'm not sure exactly what kind of car.
Ultimately, the woman was charged with child neglect for leaving the baby alone in the parking lot without supervision. She was detained for further investigation while Carlos was released after asserting he had no legal responsibility for the child. The case remains under investigation to uncover the full truth. Police officers arrived at a residential area to execute an arrest warrant for a couple wanted by multiple law enforcement agencies. Upon arrival, the situation quickly escalated, particularly with the woman who reacted strongly when she realized there was no escape.
Yep. And push instrument back. What the fuck is this even for? What is this for?
Don't start.
No, because you guys can tell me what it's for before you do
Stop
this.
resisting.
Please tell me why you're doing this.
Stop resisting.
Why the fuck are you doing this, bro?
The couple, including the woman named Bethany, stepped out of the apartment as requested by the officers without initial hesitation. However, Bethany's composure quickly faded when the officers began the arrest process. They asked her to turn around and place her hands behind her back for handcuffing, but she became frantic, repeatedly demanding to know why she was being arrested and showing agitation. Despite being told to stop resisting, Bethany continued to resist, claiming she was being assaulted and struggling to breathe. The officers restrained her to ensure safety and proceeded with the arrest.
3 weeks ago. Oh my fucking god.
Well, you still gotta go to court. You got anything on you?
I have a lighter in my pocket.
Anything else?
No. Nolan, they literally said I wasn't missing. I'm literally not even missing. Mansfield called me.
Bethany explained that she had contacted the Mansfield police 3 weeks earlier and was told she was not wanted. She insisted she was unaware of the court appearance she was required to attend. However, the officers confirmed that she had failed to appear in court, which led to the issuance of the arrest warrant. Despite her attempts to justify herself, the officers placed her in the police vehicle.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you guys were to talk to, the people in Mansfield, like,
go ahead and have a seat.
Oh, they gave me a different story as far as like her being missing and all that stuff.
Meanwhile, Bethany's boyfriend was more cooperative, providing information about the personal items he was carrying, including a phone and keys. He explained that both of them believed the issue had been resolved after speaking with Bethany's caseworker. He appeared surprised by the situation and maintained that they did not think they were being pursued.
We just, and I don't mean that in a oh my god.
No,
you're hurt.
it's
I need
no.
to
It was
charge.
it was a good.
Yeah.
I automatically grabbed her up and slammed her.
The officers reiterated that both had been previously warned about the need to surrender and attend court, but they had failed to comply.
Good. So, everybody's running.
I just turned mine off. No, mine's been running the whole
Don't
time.
interrupt it. Yeah. Okay. Never interrupt it on something like that.
Bethany's boyfriend continued to explain that he was unaware of the warrant and believed Bethany had been cleared. However, the officers emphasized that the arrest warrant remained valid. Ultimately, the officers took Bethany to the detention center, while her boyfriend was released without charges. He was instructed to meet with staff at the detention center to address related matters. An officer reassured him that if everything checked out and he was not involved, he would face no further trouble. Bethany was arrested and charged with resisting arrest, assaulting a police officer, and failing to appear in court as ordered. Her boyfriend was released without further incident. On October 7, 2023, police received a report of a disturbance at a birthday party and quickly responded to the scene. There, a woman, the mother of the girl hosting the party, explained that the event was held to celebrate the birthday of her daughter's best friend, referred to as Big Ro. According to her, Big Ro arrived intoxicated and acted aggressively, prompting her to intervene to manage the situation.
That's neither here nor there.
So what
But look, I'm gonna tell you. And listen, she was yesterday. All right, look. So she and you know what she.
The mother stated that she asked everyone, especially Big Ro, to calm down, but tensions persisted. She insisted she didn't lay a hand on anyone despite her daughter calling the police and accusing her of attacking Big Ro. She emphasized that Big Ro was like a daughter to her, having cared for her since childhood, and she had no reason to harm her. She also noted that her daughter frequently called the police over minor disputes and previous incidents were not serious. She mentioned that officers had visited her home multiple times due to similar calls.
But when I call y'all, when she call y'all, it's like I'm belligerent and I'm all this, but I just got here. You feel what I'm saying? And then they had a whole house full of people. Everybody leaves.
The younger kids, that's where us and her are close. That's what she making sure.
The mother described the party as initially lively, with many adults and children in attendance. However, as things became chaotic, she asked everyone to leave, leaving only Big Ro behind. She explained that Big Ro, likely due to her 21st birthday, had drunk too much and that she only wanted to care for her like a mother. She urged the police to speak directly with Big Ro to confirm she hadn't touched her.
Basically. And my mom, she called y'all I hit her. I'm like, why would I hit her? And I see her like a daughter. You feel what I'm saying? And I just had her ask, I just had the police officer ask her, did I touch you? She like, no, you was just trying to get us, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so she's okay to stay there?
During her explanation, another person, apparently also intoxicated, repeatedly interrupted, adding to the confusion. This individual, referred to as Taylor or Day, insisted she wasn't drunk and just wanted to continue enjoying the birthday. She argued with the police, refused to cooperate, and demanded to be left alone to keep celebrating. She recounted spending the night partying with friends around the village, but was now tired and wanted peace. She complained that people were overreacting while she only wanted to drink and celebrate.
Go inside.
You need to go to sleep. My birthday's today, all day. Listen,
stop touching me. If you keep touching me,
you go that way. My bad. I'm leaning. Listen, hold on, Neil. This is
The police tried to de-escalate, asking everyone to stay calm and cooperate. They suggested taking Taylor to the patrol car for her safety, but she refused and resisted. She demanded her phone back and insisted she'd done nothing wrong. She mentioned a past hospital stay and felt unfairly treated. The conversation grew heated, with ongoing arguments.
I'm gonna sue everybody that just. You what's your name?
It's too late. Stop. Stop.
I know your name is Taylor. I know your name is Taylor.
Nigga. Stop. It's too late.
The mother continued defending herself,
stating she was only trying to act responsibly as an adult. She reiterated that her daughter frequently called the police over trivial matters and said she'd been advised to address the issue legally, possibly by evicting her daughter if necessary. She also noted she tried to get everyone to leave before things escalated, but the situation spiraled out of control. She lamented that her own birthday had just passed and she only wanted everything to be okay.
Counting. No, I mean like mine or yours. Rock, paper, scissors. Punch you. Paper, scissors, shoot.
I swear to God.
Have a seat in my car, please. Have a seat, relax, dear.
Ultimately, the police had to intervene more forcefully when Taylor refused to cooperate. They attempted to place her in the patrol car, but she continued to resist, complicating matters further. Some others at the scene tried to intervene, but were unsuccessful. After a struggle, the police decided to take Taylor into custody.
If I gotta keep doing this crap, we didn't. You want to do it the harder way?
I called you. We didn't even nobody know we was sick, Jordan. We didn't know.
The suspect, identified as Najeen Noble, was charged with public intoxication and resisting law enforcement.
On January 23, 2023, officers were dispatched to a medical facility after reports of a woman leaving her approximately 5-year-old daughter unattended for over 30 minutes.
30 minutes, we don't know where you've been. You weren't in the bathroom. She had our key. And then she told me, hold on, I'm on the phone. And we're like, what?
Initially, the officers couldn't locate the woman. They spoke to the child who mentioned arriving by taxi, not a car. The mother was eventually found sitting on a bench outside, seemingly unconcerned.
No, ella no está sola. Yo la dejé con ella y otra señora. She said that the kid was never by herself, that she left the kid with her.
When confronted about leaving her child, she dismissed the officers, saying she was on the phone. The woman's behavior raised concerns. She appeared disoriented, laughed randomly, and showed little care for her daughter's whereabouts.
Do you speak in Spanish?
No, she's gonna talk for me.
Police?
No, I speak English.
So, I need police Spanish.
Okay.
The officers took the child to a conference room inside the facility for safety, suspecting possible issues like kidnapping or child trafficking due to the mother's indifference. The woman claimed she left her daughter with another person, but that individual denied being tasked with watching the child.
My daughter started school today, so she stopped here because she wanted to go to the bathroom.
The mother, who primarily spoke Spanish, required a translator. She explained she had moved from South Carolina to Florida 2 weeks prior and had stopped at the facility to use the bathroom as she couldn't take her daughter out of school. She also claimed her daughter had been bitten by a dog, though no bite marks were found.
Wait, get my hand out of that.
Further investigation revealed the woman had arrived in the U.S. from Venezuela 15 days earlier, seeking political asylum. A friend who had known her for 7 years from their time as reporters in Venezuela said she was fleeing an abusive husband. However, he noted she was not mentally stable, suffering from anxiety and panic attacks, and admitted to smoking cocaine. The friend explained that a pastor had driven the woman and her daughter to the facility after the alleged dog bite, but left them there without ensuring their safety.
Probably not. Yeah, it took us a week time.
Was dead in 94?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought she went over there to die.
The woman's erratic behavior continued, including wandering the building and laughing inappropriately. Her family in Venezuela, contacted by phone, confirmed her mental health struggles. The child, who spoke English, was kept with nursing staff at the facility's urgent care for her safety while the situation was assessed.
Don't hit me.
¿Por qué?
¡Ya va!
The woman was charged with child neglect, resisting arrest, and 2 counts of battery on a law enforcement officer after spitting on multiple officers, once during her arrest and again while being booked at the police station. On January 12, 2025, in a small Ohio town, a routine hotel checkout turned into a dramatic confrontation when police were summoned to address a guest, Lindsay, who refused to vacate her room past the designated 10:30 a.m. checkout time.
Lindsay, it's the police. Open up.
The incident, unfolding over a tense hour, revealed a clash of wills between a defiant woman and exasperated officers, culminating in her arrest and a series of charges that underscored the complexity of the encounter.
Right? You said your ride was supposed to be around 11 o'clock, right? So now it's 11:40. It's 11:46. Okay, well, it's 11:46. It's past that time.
The hotel, a modest establishment catering to travelers, had a clear policy. Guests were expected to check out by 10:30 a.m. According to the hotel manager, Lindsay had been informed of this deadline well in advance. She had acknowledged it, mentioning that her ride, either a friend or her mother, would pick her up around 11 a.m. However, as the clock ticked toward 11:46 a.m., Lindsay remained in her room, showing no signs of preparing to leave. The manager, growing increasingly frustrated as the room needed to be cleaned and prepared for incoming guests, decided to involve the authorities. The delay was not only an inconvenience but a violation of the hotel's rental agreement, which Lindsay had signed upon checking in.
Let's go. Lindsay, you got 4 minutes.
Time's a ticking.
When police officers arrived at the hotel, they approached the situation with a measured tone, hoping to resolve it quickly. They knocked on Lindsay's door, identifying themselves and explaining the need for her to vacate the room. The manager had already extended her some leeway, allowing her until 11:40 a.m. to gather her belongings, but Lindsay's lack of action prompted the call to law enforcement. The officers suggested she could wait in the hotel's lobby for her ride, a reasonable compromise given the circumstances. However, Lindsay's response was marked by resistance. She claimed she was in the process of getting dressed, but the officers observed little evidence of progress. Instead, they found her lingering in the room with the television on and her belongings largely untouched.
Okay. All right, stop.
As the interaction progressed, the officers' patience began to wear thin. They reminded Lindsay that her rental agreement clearly outlined the checkout time, and her failure to comply constituted trespassing. The situation took a more serious turn when one officer noticed what appeared to be a needle in the room, raising immediate concerns about possible drug-related activity. This discovery shifted the tone of the encounter, adding a layer of suspicion to Lindsay's already uncooperative behavior. The officers pressed her to gather her things and leave, emphasizing that she no longer had a legal right to remain in the room. They offered her a brief window, initially 5 minutes, then extended to 10, to comply, but Lindsay's actions remained sluggish and defiant.
My friend is trying to come pick me up.
Slide your feet in there. Hey, we're gonna have to put your hands.
No!
Yes, we are.
My friend is picking me up.
Lindsay repeatedly insisted that she was trying to dress and that her ride was on its way. She mentioned both a friend and her mother as potential drivers, but the officers, now skeptical, pointed out that she had had ample time to prepare. Her excuses did little to diffuse the situation, as her lack of cooperation only heightened the tension. The officers, growing frustrated, reiterated that she faced arrest if she did not leave voluntarily. They attempted to assist her by handing her clothes, urging her to put on her pants, but Lindsay's responses were evasive. She argued that she was complying, yet her actions, sitting on the bed engaging in minimal effort, suggested otherwise.
Get up. I'm all right.
No. We told you no.
We're not cutting you slack.
I have a friend that
I don't
that is
care.
picking me up and my mom.
Care.
The confrontation escalated when Lindsay's resistance turned physical. As officers moved to escort her from the room, she became combative, attempting to pull away and at one point trying to kick an officer. This aggression prompted the officers to restrain her, a decision they justified by her refusal to cooperate and her potential threat to their safety. In the police cruiser, Lindsay's defiance continued. She refused to sit properly, leading to a struggle that culminated in her being hogtied to prevent further resistance. The officers explained that this measure was necessary due to her earlier attempt to kick them, a claim Lindsay denied, insisting she was merely trying to adjust her position.
I was unaware of what the time was.
You have a phone. You were on your phone. You had your phone with you. I'm sure
Throughout the ordeal, Lindsay maintained her innocence, repeatedly asking to be allowed to go home. She claimed to have a good job and argued that she had done nothing wrong, but the officers countered that her actions, refusing to leave the hotel, possessing drug paraphernalia, and physically resisting, had led to her current predicament. Her belongings, including her phone and AirPods, were secured and transported to the police station, where she was processed for booking.
Stand up.
Not leaving till I have my shit.
The incident highlighted the challenges of enforcing compliance in seemingly routine situations. For the hotel staff, it was a matter of maintaining operations. For the officers, it was about upholding the law while managing an uncooperative individual. Lindsay's refusal to acknowledge the checkout policy, combined with the discovery of drug-related items, transformed Lindsay was ultimately arrested and faced charges of resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and drug possession. These accusations stemmed from her refusal to leave the hotel room, her combative behavior during the encounter, and the discovery of pills and drug paraphernalia in her possession. If convicted, she could face significant legal consequences, marking a stark contrast to her claims of innocence and her assertion of having a stable job in life. On September 3, 2022, police were called to a family gathering after a couple's argument escalated. The incident began at a pool where everyone was enjoying themselves until alcohol fueled a dispute. The man involved explained to officers that he and his partner of 5 years, who share a child, were arguing over his perceived lack of involvement in parenting. The woman, identified as the aggressor, became increasingly agitated.
Okay. What is going on tonight that's got you guys arguing that we have to get called out here?
It's nothing. She just thought I wasn't being on the
The man recounted that the argument started when his partner accused him of not helping enough with their child. Her sister and sister-in-law, present at the scene, tried to calm her down, urging her to step away to avoid further conflict. Despite efforts to de-escalate, the woman continued arguing, ignoring attempts to defuse the situation. The man emphasized that alcohol played a significant role in her behavior, stating, "It's from alcohol."
I need you two guys to do this. Stand over here. Oh man, can you do me a favor? Can you guys all hang out here for a second so we can get the room empty?
Police attempted to separate the parties to manage the situation safely. The woman, however, resisted, refusing to cooperate or engage calmly. Officers instructed the family to stand aside while they escorted her outside to prevent further escalation. The man and his relatives were asked to wait so they could retrieve their belongings after the situation was under control. The woman's behavior grew more erratic as officers tried to guide her to a patrol car. She shouted profanities, accused officers of mistreating her, and physically resisted, demanding to be let go.
You nasty ass cop. Let me go. Let me go.
Oh, let me go. And that's your
At one point, she complained about the tightness of her handcuffs, claiming they were cutting off circulation. Officers responded by adding a second pair of handcuffs to relieve pressure, ensuring they were not too tight. Despite these efforts, she continued to struggle and protest, yelling about her discomfort and the situation. The property manager issued a trespass warning, informing her that she was no longer authorized to be on the premises and could face arrest if she returned. Her family was unable to locate her purse immediately, but assured officers that someone would come to bond her out. Throughout the ordeal, she remained uncooperative, facing the officers with verbal hostility and physical resistance. The incident, driven by alcohol and emotional intensity, culminated in her being taken into custody.
They don't know where it is right now, but one of them will be coming down to bond you out, so you don't have to worry about credit cards.
She was charged with resisting arrest and battery on an officer. Her behavior, marked by a serious outburst, likely stemmed from intoxication and the fact that she was the only one arrested during the incident. The combination of alcohol and the stress of the situation appeared to amplify her reaction, leading to the charges filed against her. On August 17, 2022, police officers in Savannah responded to a report of shots fired in a neighborhood. Upon arrival, they encountered a man limping and acting evasive. When questioned, he claimed he didn't know what happened, only that he heard gunshots and saw 3 teenagers, described as little dudes, fleeing toward a nearby housing project. He was reluctant to provide details, saying he needed to get his mother's car. Officers noted his standoffish demeanor, but continued their investigation.
I gotta get my mama car. Where's that? Right at the next other house. Joe, go get that car. The keys in it. Go get the car for 34. So what's going on? You're in the area. What'd you hear?
Witnesses reported seeing 2 teens, one in a white shirt and black pants, the other shirtless. Following the man's vague directions, officers investigated the area where the teens reportedly fled. They soon encountered a shirtless teenager matching the description. When approached, he was uncooperative, refusing to identify himself and attempting to leave. As officers tried to detain him, his sister intervened, escalating the situation. She physically blocked officers, yelled, and refused to provide her identity, claiming to be the guardian in their mother's absence. The scene grew chaotic as she resisted detention, arguing her right to protect her brother.
Where's his mom? Where's his mom?
I'm his sister. I'm his adult.
Where's his mom?
No, I'm the parent. That's him. Yeah, I'm the parent. That's him. You ain't got time.
Neighbors contacted the teen's mother, who arrived upset, citing prior negative experiences with police. She argued that her daughter, listed as an emergency contact, should be allowed to handle the situation. The mother insisted officers had no right to enter her home or detain her children without her present. Officers clarified that no one entered her home and they were only trying to identify the teens due to their proximity to the shots fired incident. They explained that in public housing, they have the authority to identify individuals, and the daughter's actions, physically interfering and refusing to cooperate, constituted obstruction. The mother disputed the obstruction charge, arguing her daughter was protecting her sibling and that officers should have recognized the teen, who had no shoes and came from their home. She referenced past incidents where she felt officers overstepped, including one where an officer allegedly drew a weapon on her son at their doorway. Officers acknowledged her concerns but maintained that the daughter's interference and refusal to identify herself led to her detention. They emphasized they only sought identification, not incriminating statements, and needed the parent or legal guardian present for further questioning.
Hey, fella, what you doing? Why don't you manhandling me? I ain't pushing around. I'm trying to check my face. You got me. No.
Ultimately, both teens were released. The investigation into the shots fired incident concluded without finding shell casings, property damage, or injuries. The daughter, however, was charged with obstruction and disorderly conduct, with a court date set for later. The officers stressed that her actions, physically hindering their investigation and causing a disturbance, resulted in the charges despite her claims of protecting her brother and asserting her rights. On the night of April 28, 2022, at the North Beach Garage on Pia, the lively atmosphere of a bustling bar took a chaotic turn for Ashley Gerber and her friends. The evening began with the group out to enjoy themselves, but trouble brewed when a security guard approached Ashley and asked her to leave the premises. Initially confused, Ashley claimed she didn't understand the request, but she complied after what she described as an aggressive encounter with the guard. According to her, the guard's actions escalated into an assault, leaving her feeling targeted and shaken. Determined to avoid further conflict, she left the bar and headed toward her vehicle.
I didn't understand it at first, but I did after he had aggressive assault on me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I left the situation, so I don't even understand what we're talking right now, man.
Outside, the situation remained tense. Ashley's friends, upset by the guard's alleged aggression, gathered around her, claiming he had grabbed her inappropriately, possibly by the neck. Their outrage fueled a heated exchange as they defended Ashley, insisting she had left peacefully. By the time law enforcement arrived, responding to a call about a disturbance, Ashley was near her vehicle, ready to go home. The officers approached to investigate, but the interaction quickly spiraled.
And that's why my friends got upset. I got upset because he wasn't making it clear of what it was.
Okay. Okay, I got you. What's a good phone number?
Ashley questioned why she was being detained, asserting she had done nothing wrong and had followed the guard's orders to leave. The officers, however, had received a different story, one that painted Ashley as the aggressor in an altercation inside the bar. Witnesses provided conflicting accounts. Some supported Ashley's claim that she was the victim, while others alleged she had hit and kicked another person. Frustrated and feeling unfairly targeted, Ashley challenged the officers' authority, accusing them of acting on false pretenses. Her tone grew confrontational as she brought up race, noting that a black man she allegedly assaulted wasn't pressing charges, unlike others involved.
Okay, what's with the attitude you're on?
Because you sadly mistaken about where you're at.
No, you don't know your laws. Okay? Did you go to law school? Did you go to the police academy? Okay, so you know street law, which is not law at all.
The officers explained that Ashley was being detained for disorderly conduct and wasn't free to leave while they investigated. Her friends tried to mediate, urging her to stay calm, but Ashley's anger intensified. She demanded her rights be read and insisted she was being unjustly detained. As the officers moved to arrest her, citing her resistance, a struggle ensued. Ashley protested loudly, claiming she was being arrested for no reason, especially since she was already at her vehicle, ready to leave. Her friends, recording the incident, shouted that the arrest was unfair, amplifying the chaos.
Why are you stepping up to me like that? Why don't you back out? Over there, come on. Because we don't need no more shit.
Right? We don't. We don't need no more shit. Do we, officer?
Throughout the encounter, Ashley's frustration boiled over into personal attacks on the officers, questioning their motives and backgrounds. She referenced her status as a taxpayer, arguing that their actions were unjust. The officers maintained their professionalism, explaining that their decisions were based on evidence, including witness statements and potential video footage from the bar. Ashley's mention of a prior incident suggested a history that may have influenced the officer's response, though she dismissed its relevance.
Do that work. Do that work, bro. Get that paycheck. Off the road, bitches. Hey, do you go home and sleep at night? I'm just wondering. You sleep well?
I'm a taxpayer too. So
Do you sleep well? Oh, I am a taxpayer, baby. Do you sleep well? Do you sleep well?
As the situation escalated, Ashley physically resisted arrest, leading to a tense struggle before she was placed in the patrol car. Her protests continued, echoing as she accused the officers of ignoring her compliance and acting on biased accounts. Her friends, still present, argued that more people vouched for her innocence than against it, but the officers emphasized that their decisions rested on evidence, not bystander opinions.
Stop. Am I doing?
The confrontation ended with Ashley being transported to jail, her protests ringing out as she was placed in the van. Her friends, free to leave, stayed to support her, frustrated by what they saw as an unjust arrest. The officers proceeded with their duties, coordinating with witnesses and bar staff to verify details, including Ashley's identity and the specifics of the incident.
No, I want to go home. No, fuck you. Why am I getting arrested, bitch? Why am I getting arrested?
In the aftermath of that April 28, 2022 night, Ashley Gerber faced serious charges reflecting the chaotic events: felony third-degree disorderly conduct, felony third-degree resisting an officer with violence, 2 counts of felony battery, 1 tied to a prior conviction, 2 counts of felony battery on a law enforcement officer, and a misdemeanor charge of disorderly intoxication. These accusations stemmed from the allegations of her actions inside the bar and her resistance during the arrest, marking a tumultuous end to a night that began with the promise of a good time. On September 27, 2022, police responded to a call about an intoxicated woman in a driveway driving a silver Toyota. The caller reported her presence in their neighborhood, prompting officers to investigate. Upon arrival, they found the woman in her vehicle, appearing disoriented and engaged in a conversation about storm shutters.
You know those,
The woman explained she had been driving around her neighborhood, looking for someone to help her install storm shutters on her home. She mentioned stopping at a nearby house to inquire about assistance, claiming she didn't know the homeowner. When asked where she was, she insisted she was in her own neighborhood. Her speech was erratic, and she seemed confused, laughing and making disjointed remarks about storm preparations. Officers noted her behavior and asked if she had been drinking, to which she initially denied consuming any alcohol.
and I looked at him and I said, okay, you have all kinds of people helping you.
As the interaction continued, the woman grew agitated. She was asked to turn off her car and step out, but she hesitated, repeatedly mentioning her need to put up storm shutters. She referenced her recent errands, saying she had just gotten fuel and water. When pressed about her behavior, she became defensive, insisting she wasn't being treated seriously and denying any medical conditions like diabetes that might explain her demeanor.
I don't know.
Come on out of the car.
I want to go home.
Okay.
I live right over in here.
Officers observed signs of intoxication, her unsteady stance, the smell of alcohol, and her slurred speech. They asked her to exit the vehicle multiple times, but she resisted, focusing instead on rolling up her window. Her responses grew increasingly incoherent, and she expressed frustration, cursing and referencing a man she claimed was responsible for her situation. She accused this individual of influencing the police, though she provided no clear details about who he was or what he had done.
Oh God, you got a gun?
That's generally what police have.
Don't touch it.
I'm not.
Okay, step out.
The woman's agitation escalated as she was instructed to stand in front of her car. She continued to ramble about storm shutters and her interactions with neighbors, mentioning her past service in the National Guard. Officers attempted to calm her, but she became combative, questioning their actions and making sarcastic remarks about their appearance. When asked again about her alcohol consumption, she denied drinking, though her behavior suggested otherwise.
Okay, you want me to sit down? No, not really. You feel better.
Hey, ma'am. As the situation intensified, the woman physically resisted officers' attempts to guide her. She pulled away when an officer touched her arm, leading to a struggle. She complained of pain, claiming the officers were hurting her, and referenced a hip replacement that made movement difficult. Despite her protest, officers noted that her resistance and actions, including grabbing an officer, constituted battery. She continued to argue, denying she was resisting and insisting she wasn't a bad person.
Listen, I said I don't
fucking pull my arm.
The woman was eventually placed in a patrol car, but not without further resistance. She struggled to comply with instructions to sit properly, citing physical limitations. Officers assisted her, lifting her legs to help her into the vehicle, but she remained uncooperative, cursing and complaining about the discomfort of the handcuffs. She repeatedly asked not to be hurt and questioned why she was being laughed at, misinterpreting the officer's interactions with a bystander who had reported her.
I battered him?
Yeah, he did not want you to touch him, and you touched him. That's called battery.
Well, I didn't want him to touch me, and he was.
Throughout the encounter, the woman's focus shifted between her mission to find help with storm shutters, her frustration with the police, and her accusations against an unnamed man she believed had orchestrated her arrest. She acknowledged her mistake at one point, apologizing briefly before returning to her defensive stance. Officers conducted a pat-down search for safety, confirming she had no weapons, and retrieved her purse from her car, asking if she wanted to take it to jail.
That guy over there, that guy is the one that no one told me about.
As she was prepared for transport to Charlotte County Jail, the woman continued to protest, insisting she wasn't intoxicated and questioning the charges. She was informed she was being arrested for driving under the influence, DUI, resisting arrest, and battery on a law enforcement officer. Her behavior remained erratic, oscillating between cooperation and defiance as she was secured in the patrol car.
I'll try to find one of those vests.
Sit down, Regina. Come on.
You gonna push me? You have to push me.
The woman's actions led to formal charges of resisting arrest without violence, DUI, and battery on a law enforcement officer. She was later sentenced to 1 year of probation, required to complete community service, attend DUI school, and pay fines. June 22, 2023, police officers responded to a disturbance at a local bar following a report of an altercation. Upon arrival, they were met outside by the bar manager and a male individual who was waiting to speak with them. The man explained that a female acquaintance, later identified as Chelsea, had pushed him off his chair inside the bar. Security personnel intervened, escorting her out of the establishment. However, Chelsea returned shortly after and continued her aggressive behavior, resulting in the man being pulled to the ground a second time.
I told my security guard to go stand at that bar in case she comes in, but he must have moved. So, do you want this guy's ID? Yeah.
The man recounted the events to the officers, visibly frustrated. He described how Chelsea, a woman with short red hair, approached him at the bar. She initially pulled him off his chair, causing him to fall. Security removed her from the premises, but she returned and repeated the assault, grabbing him by the hair and throwing him to the ground again. The bar manager corroborated the story, noting that security had been instructed to monitor the entrance to prevent her re-entry, but Chelsea managed to slip back inside when the guard briefly stepped away. Surveillance footage captured both incidents, clearly showing Chelsea's actions at approximately 12:14 a.m. The footage depicted her grabbing the man's chair, swinging him around, and forcing him to the ground.
Told my guy to stay in the bar. Like, dude, in case she comes back. So she comes in again. Yeah.
Do you know if this guy...
The man provided further details, stating he knew Chelsea from previous encounters. He mentioned meeting her at Rock House Live, where he used to work, and noted that she had been employed at several local establishments, including Sloppy Joe's, Waterfront Brewery, and Dante's, but had been fired from all of them. He also referenced her recent arrest on May 30th for trespassing and resisting arrest, suggesting she had a history of confrontational behavior. The man expressed reluctance to escalate the situation but felt compelled to protect himself, as Chelsea's actions were deliberate and malicious. He described the incidents as disruptive, noting that witnesses, including other patrons and the DJ, had seen both assaults. The DJ had physically intervened during the second incident, pulling Chelsea off the man.
You'll see the video. There's the one, and now there's another one. I'm pulling it right now.
Officers reviewed the surveillance footage, which clearly showed Chelsea grabbing the man by the hair and pushing him down. The man confirmed he wanted to press charges for battery, citing the repeated nature of the attacks and Chelsea's apparent disregard for consequences. He also expressed interest in obtaining a restraining order, emphasizing that he was not a troublemaker and wanted to avoid further issues. He mentioned his familiarity with the bar, where he was a regular, and his occasional work in security, underscoring that he did not want Chelsea's actions to disrupt his life or the bar's operations.
How you doing? All good? Come on.
The officer attempted to contact Chelsea by phone to hear her side of the story before proceeding with any warrants. He left a voicemail identifying himself as Officer Guba from the local police department and requesting a callback to discuss the reported battery. He warned that failure to respond by morning would result in the initiation of a warrant process. Despite efforts to locate her, Chelsea was not immediately found in the area. The officer patrolled nearby, encountering intoxicated individuals, but no sign of Chelsea. While writing the report, the officer received a tip that Chelsea was near Sloppy Joe's, a few blocks away.
Chelsea! Get over here, Chelsea! Okay, put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Acting on this information, the officer approached Chelsea, instructing her to place her hands behind her back. She initially resisted, pulling away and questioning the reason for her arrest. The officer informed her she was under arrest for battery, explaining that video evidence clearly showed her pulling a man by the hair and pushing him to the ground. Chelsea denied the allegations, claiming she was unaware of the officer's identity and had not heard his commands to stop. She argued that the officer failed to announce himself properly, though he countered that she had looked directly at him and was warned by a friend about the police presence. Her resistance during the arrest led to additional charges.
I'm trying to figure out why you...
Okay, I'll tell you in a second.
Okay, please do.
Well, by me placing you in handcuffs and you pulling away...
Well, yeah, I don't know who you are. You scared me a little bit.
At the detention center, Chelsea's confrontational attitude persisted as she refused to follow deputies' instructions. The man's consistent references to her prior arrest on May 30th for trespassing and resisting arrest highlighted her pattern of behavior. Ultimately, Chelsea was charged with 2 counts of battery and resisting arrest. An order of protection was also issued to prevent further contact with the victim. On February 10, 2023, police in Wausau, Wisconsin were dispatched to a residence following reports of a possible physical disturbance. The incident involved 18-year-old Anna Kostecki, who had become assaultive after discovering that her sister had discarded $100 worth of alleged cocaine, which was stored in a prescription bottle. Anna's sister, aware of her struggles with substance abuse, had taken the step to prevent her access to the drugs. The situation escalated into a physical altercation with household members, prompting Anna to leave the residence in a black vehicle.
We're still rolling southbound on the exit ramp to 52 Parkway.
While en route to the scene, an officer noticed a black vehicle matching the description provided by dispatch passing by. The officer turned around and initiated a traffic stop. The vehicle, driven by 33-year-old Von Lohr, did not immediately pull over, continuing at a slow pace of about 10 miles per hour, failing to yield despite the officer's red and blue lights. The officer eventually directed Vaughn to stop the car and step out. Vaughn complied, explaining that he was simply picking Anna up at her request and was unaware of the details of the earlier incident. He questioned why he hadn't stopped sooner, citing his reluctance to halt in the middle of traffic, though the officer pointed out that he had safely exited the highway.
Wasn't on the highway the entire road?
It wasn't a registered car, so I just recently bought the car, so I just took it for a test drive.
Typically red and blue lights mean stop, right?
Right.
And the siren?
I just want to stop right in the middle of traffic, you know.
The officer then spoke with Anna, who was a passenger in Vaughn's vehicle. Anna denied any physical altercation at her mother's residence, claiming the conflict stemmed from her drinking, which had strained her relationship with her mother over the past few days. She admitted to consuming alcohol that evening, but insisted that no physical fight occurred, only arguments about her drinking. Anna's demeanor was initially cooperative, but she grew increasingly agitated as the interaction continued. She confirmed she was on probation for prior incidents and agreed to a preliminary breath test, which registered a blood alcohol content of 0.169, indicating intoxication.
No amateur friends, did she tell you anything that happened there? No. Did you know anything that was going on over there? No. Alright, yeah. So I just want to let you know.
Meanwhile, dispatch informed the officer that Vaughn had 2 active warrants. When confronted, Vaughn claimed ignorance of the warrants and expressed frustration, arguing that he was only involved because he was helping Anna. He accused the police of unfairly targeting him while letting Anna, whom he described as intoxicated, walk free. The officer clarified that Vaughn's warrants necessitated his arrest, independent of Anna's situation, and that other officers were addressing her case separately. Vaughn's frustration escalated, and he made comments about perceived racial bias, noting that he, an Asian man, was being arrested while Anna, a white woman, was not immediately detained. The officer attempted to de-escalate, focusing on the procedural necessity of addressing the warrants.
Alright, go ahead and just turn around for me, okay? And put your back. You have warrants out for your arrest, did you know that? No. When's the last time you saw your PO?
Was that? He's got warrants.
Anna, meanwhile, became increasingly uncooperative. She made a phone call to her mother, begging to be picked up and insisting she had done nothing wrong. She claimed her boyfriend Ethan had pushed her down the stairs, a detail she hadn't mentioned earlier. As officers continued to investigate, Anna's behavior grew erratic. She was flagged in the department's records as a 10-0 for officer safety, indicating a history of volatile interactions with police. When an officer arrived from her mother's residence with additional information, including evidence of incriminating messages sent by Anna, she was asked to cooperate further. Instead, she attempted to flee, prompting officers to restrain her. Anna resisted, refusing to release her hands and kicking at the officers, which led to her being decentralized and placed in a squad car with a protective helmet to prevent self-harm.
Want to do this stand out?
You take your left.
During the transport to the sheriff's department, Anna continued to protest, claiming she was being unfairly targeted and demanding her vape, which she said was dead. She oscillated between pleading for leniency and lashing out, accusing the officers of misconduct. At the jail, a search of Anna revealed 2 smoking devices commonly used for methamphetamine and THC. The substance found in her bedroom, initially believed to be cocaine, tested positive for 12.92 grams of methamphetamine. On September 7, 2023, at an airport terminal, a chaotic scene unfolded as airport officers responded to a report of an intoxicated passenger causing a disturbance. The woman, who had reportedly been disruptive at one gate, had moved to another area of the terminal. When officers approached her to check on her well-being, the interaction quickly escalated into a contentious confrontation marked by her erratic behavior, accusations, and resistance.
I went to go check in to my flight. I was just trying to get to my friend. I'm trying to get to my friend.
The officers found the woman seated near a gate, appearing disoriented and under the influence. When asked if she was all right, she responded defensively, saying she didn't like people lying to her and insisting she was fine. Her speech was slurred and disjointed as she rambled about trying to get to her flight to Seattle to visit a friend. She claimed she hadn't done anything wrong, but her behavior suggested otherwise. She admitted to having consumed 2 glasses of wine, though the officers noted she reeked of alcohol and appeared heavily intoxicated.
Honestly, I didn't do anything. I was like, hey, I'm trying to go here, and I was like, I'm trying to, and they were like, and I got my friend on the phone, they're all law enforcement, we're all law enforcement, I'm not, but all of them are, so, and then for them to sit there and just react the way they
The woman's account of events was muddled. She mentioned an earlier incident at Gate 26 but provided no clear details, only vaguely stating that everybody was reacting to her and that she was trying to get information about her flight, which had reportedly changed. She grew agitated, accusing airline staff and law enforcement of unfairly targeting her. She repeatedly referenced her connections to law enforcement, claiming her uncle might have trained the officers and that her father was a lawyer, suggesting she believed these ties should afford her special treatment.
So when I had to drink tonight, I didn't have anything to drink tonight before that happened, and then I started drinking after that. Does that matter?
When did this happen? Because we just got called.
It happened after.
You have a time frame, or?
As the officers tried to de-escalate the situation, they explained they were not airline employees but airport police, there to ensure everyone's safety. They informed her that American Airlines had denied her boarding, likely due to her intoxicated state, and that she was no longer considered a ticketed passenger. The officers directed her to gather her belongings and leave the secure area of the terminal, as only ticketed passengers were allowed to remain. However, the woman refused to comply, growing increasingly belligerent and uncooperative.
That's why I'm trying to ask too, the same thing. I've done that, the girl's got something with me, that's cool. But what she needs to do is go back to school.
The situation escalated further when the officers warned her that failure to leave could result in a trespassing charge. She continued to resist, accusing the officers of attacking her and insisting that everything be recorded. She repeatedly demanded that cameras be on, seemingly convinced that the footage would exonerate her. Her behavior became physical as she kicked an officer, leading to her arrest. Even during the arrest, she struggled, yelling for the officers to get off her and claiming she was being tortured. She accused the officers of assaulting her, despite evidence that she had initiated physical contact.
You are. All right. Well, stand up.
I told you to leave.
Don't resist. Not doing that. Stand up. You're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back, or I'll add resisting. Are you going to continue to resist?
Grab my phone.
I'm not worried about your phone. Put your hands behind your back right now.
Throughout the ordeal, the woman's sense of entitlement was evident. She repeatedly invoked her family connections, claiming her father and uncle's influence would cost the officers their jobs. She expressed disbelief that she was being treated this way, even denying the existence of God and Jesus, saying they wouldn't allow such treatment to happen to her. Her outbursts included insults and threats, such as telling the officers they were liars and would face consequences. She demanded to be released and refused to answer basic questions about her medical conditions or medications, focusing instead on her grievances and perceived injustices.
You're gonna try to get her up? Just kick me. I know. We can go out 30.
As the officers attempted to calm her and complete the arrest process, she continued to resist, both verbally and physically. She insisted on knowing if cameras were recording, believing the footage would support her claims. Despite her combative behavior, the officers remained professional, repeatedly assuring her that everything was being recorded and that she would have the opportunity to make phone calls once processed. Eventually, she was restrained and escorted out of the terminal, still shouting about her connections and the perceived unfairness of the situation.
Put the cameras on! Put the cameras on!
The incident highlights a complex interplay of intoxication, entitlement, and resistance to authority. The woman's belief that her family ties to law enforcement should exempt her from consequences suggests a sense of privilege that can complicate interactions with authorities. Such attitudes can create challenges for law enforcement, who must balance maintaining order with managing individuals who feel above the rules. The officers in this case demonstrated patience, repeatedly attempting to de-escalate the situation before resorting to arrest when her behavior became physically aggressive. Was ultimately charged with public intoxication, resisting arrest, and assaulting a public servant. These charges reflect the seriousness of her actions, from her disruptive behavior in a public space to her physical resistance against law enforcement officers attempting to maintain safety and order.
Welcome to Speed Bodycam channel, where we share police bodycam footage. We are a dedicated team focused on creating educational and engaging content about law enforcement. Using AI and advanced technology combined with editing skill, we carefully craft our own authentic videos. Our editing team worked hard to highlight the emotional and real-life challenge officers face every day. Through impactful storytelling, we bring this story to life and share important lessons to raise awareness about the need to respect and comply with law enforcement. Please note that the content we present is not intended to promote or glorify violence, nor to condemn any individual or organization. We share this video for educational purposes, reporting and encouraging compliance with law and law enforcement in your area. Additionally, our bodycam footage is edited for brevity and to comply with YouTube's community guidelines, focusing on journalistic integrity while bringing both entertainment and meaningful lessons. We appreciate YouTube for providing a wonderful platform to reach viewers and share valuable content worldwide. Our audience support is a huge motivation for us to continue producing meaningful content every day, and it means so much to us. Thank you for being a part of the Speed Body Cam community.
That's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.